Refugee resettlement program after the attack at Ohio State University. 11 injured after Somali refugee Abdul Razak Ali Artan drove his car into a crowd yesterday and then got out of that car and stabbed a number of people. As Breitbart News reported, since 2001, more than 90,000 refugees from Somalia have been admitted to the United States, including nearly 9,000 last year. President Obama earlier this year announced that he wanted a 30% increase in the number of refugees coming into this country, 110,000 this fiscal year, 40,000 of those refugees from the Near East and South Asia, 35,000 from Africa, of course, including Somalia. Yet Congress, under Speaker Paul Ryan, has done nothing to address the issue. In fact, the Ryan-led House of Representatives passed a spending bill last December fully funding the refugee resettlement program with support from leading Republicans. Legislation backed by 49 Republicans to pause and to defund the program has yet to even receive a vote. That is directly the responsibility of the Speaker of the House. President-elect Trump has said he will pause refugee admissions from countries with a history of radical terrorism. Joining me now, former Assistant Director of the FBI in New York, Bill Gavin. Bill, great to have you back with us. As we witness this huge immigration into this country, propelled by the Obama administration, aided and abetted by Speaker Ryan and many members of his conference, and particularly leadership, this looks like it has all been done with a political purpose in which they didn't mind not vetting thoroughly these refugees, particularly from Somalia.
Lou, everything that has been done makes absolutely no sense in view of the dynamic problem that we have by letting people in here that aren't properly vetted. We have the ability to vet these people properly, but we don't have the will, and therefore the law enforcement and intelligence services don't have the authority to vet them properly. I have no idea why all these people need to come into this country at once. The political correctness aspect of this whole nonsense is going to kill Americans. It's a given fact.
Well, at Ohio State, they're very fortunate that no one was killed in that horrible attack, driving a car into a crowd, and the Somali refugee, who is a green carder now, attacking with a knife those folks. I mean, it's terrible. But it is becoming pretty clear, isn't it, that radical Islamist terrorism in various forms is now part of this country. There is radical Islamist terrorism in America.
Lou, you're absolutely right. Radical Islamic terrorists are the people that want to do harm to this country. Neither of us, none of us want to say that Muslims in general are just shouldn't come into this country. That's not it. Radical Muslim extremists want to put our country down, want to kill all of us and run this world according to Sharia law. We have to make sure that it doesn't happen. And I think that with what I've seen the president-elect do right now with the finances you discussed in your last piece, I have all the faith in the world that he will devote that same kind of enthusiasm to the security of our country and stop this. There are other ways to handle this problem other than let people into this country that can't be properly vetted.
You know, instead of having detractors on the left who attack Donald Trump because he represents a way forward that they never contemplated, that is an American constitutional republic that prospers, survives, and perseveres rather than one that they could successfully tear to pieces. People need to remember, we wouldn't even be talking about these refugees, these immigrants who are vulnerable to being radicalized, becoming radical Islamists, and carrying out these acts of terror if it were not for Donald Trump bringing up the issue. And the first thing that happened was the national left-wing media scoffed at him and mocked him as what unfolded has been, absolutely precisely what he predicted.
Lou, we'd still be drifting along on the absurd rhetoric that has come out of the White House over the past 8 years, and everybody would have been happy, smiling at each other. They don't understand what the goal of the radical Islamic terrorist is. I saw just recently one individual who was in a Scandinavian country, right, and I can't say that he was radical, but he was a Muslim, and he said, look, here's what we can do. You invite us into your country. You bring us into your country under an immigration program. We will come, we'll have 4 wives, 5 wives, 25 children, 50 children, and sooner or later we will vote you out of your own country, and that's our goal.
Well,
simple.
It is, without question, votes seem to have been a calculation on the part of this administration's policies over the course of 8 years, and frankly, not votes for that I would take as being in either the mainstream or in the national interest. Bill Gavin, it's always good to talk with you. We appreciate you being here. Come back soon.
It's always my pleasure, Lou. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Be sure to vote in our poll tonight. The question is, do you believe this country will ever awaken to the subversive threat posed by the American left? This is not just about governance. It's about the survival of the republic itself. Cast your vote on Twitter at Lou Dobbs, and follow me on Twitter at Lou Dobbs. We're nearing 1 million followers, and we want to thank you for that. Thank you profoundly. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram at Lou Dobbs Tonight. President-elect Donald Trump dining with Mitt Romney momentarily, we're told. We're also told the president's motorcade has arrived at Jean-Georges restaurant at 61st and Central Park West. And Romney to be joining the governor and the president-elect for dinner. No word on whether Melania is joining them as well. Joining me now, host of the Mike Gallagher Show on the Salem Radio Network, Fox News contributor Mike Gallagher, former election law counsel for the Republican National Committee, and the chief financial officer for, are you ready? Romney's 2008 presidential campaign, Charlie Spees. Great to have you both here.
Hi, Lou.
How's it going?
Good, good.
I gotta start with Charlie. Your former boss, sitting down with the president-elect. What do you think they're talking about?
Hopefully, how Donald Trump can be a great president.
And I think that course has been laid out during the campaign. What about the governor? What role do you think he should play? You think he should be Secretary of State?
I have confidence in Donald Trump's decision, and I give him a lot of credit for sitting down with a variety of different voices, and I think he's doing a great job filling out his cabinet.
Do you think crow is on the menu at Jean-Georges? Do they serve crow baked, or how do they serve crow?
Well, it'll be elegant, no matter how they do it.
You'll have to lift your pinky as you eat some of that crow. Listen, I don't know how this even comes about, because there are millions and millions of people who can't forget, with all due respect, Charlie, won't forget Governor Romney's scathing indictment of Donald Trump's character. And we appear to know how loyal Donald Trump is to those who've been loyal to him. So I don't even know how this comes about, but it's been a surreal few weeks. Maybe this is no shock that there's more surreal.
It's been, as you say, Mike, an extraordinary campaign throughout. And the contests, the passions, the outright contempt for between these elements, and there's 17 of them at one point working against each other just within the party. But it certainly was, none of it was more acrimonious and nastier and vile than Mitt Romney's attacks on Donald Trump. Do you think the governor is sincerely putting all of that aside and ready to work for the man he so vilified?
If he was offered the job, that would have to be the understanding. And I think he's extremely patriotic, and Donald Trump's our president. Mm-hmm. And if he went that direction, I have 100% confidence that Mitt Romney would be loyal and serve at the president's pleasure.
I'm not sure how you're loyal and you put that duty to country side by side with an attack that just on Trump's foundation, his character. Governor Romney called him basically a liar, dishonest, a phony, a con man. I mean, we've all trotted out the speech during the primary. That's got to be a tough thing to reconcile.
It's a little dishonest that everyone keeps trotting out the speech. Dishonest. The speech was during the primary, and Donald Trump's the one that's been really gracious about this. When he's been asked about this, he said he was really tough on Mitt Romney too.
Yeah, you've got to give me some credit for honesty. I said I'm much more shallow. I am much pettier than Donald Trump could ever be. You attack the man. doesn't feel right because it was so personal and it was so invidious and it was so there was no jurisdiction or standing for Mitt Romney other than if he conceived of himself as some sort of art.